The wind whispered through the golden Montana fields, carrying the scent of earth and the distant echo of a wild heart yearning to be understood. 12-year-old Tommy Carter sat on the wooden fence, his legs dangling, his heart restless with longing. He had always dreamed of having a horse of his own, not just any horse, but one that felt like a part of him, one that could chase away the loneliness that curled in his chest like an ever-present shadow. Tommy lived on a modest ranch with his father, Mark, a man hardened by loss, and his grandmother, Eleanor, whose love was warm like the scent of her fresh-baked apple pie. The weight of his mother's absence never truly left their home, lingering in the quiet moments when no one spoke of her. Tommy rarely found the words to express his sorrow, but he carried it, heavy unspoken, in the spaces between his dreams. One evening, as the sun melted into the horizon, Tommy saw something that stole the breath from his lungs. A wild horse, dark as midnight with a single white star on its forehead, stood at the edge of the field. Its eyes, deep and knowing, met his across the distance, igniting something fierce inside him. He didn't know why, but he felt it in his bones. This horse, the horse, was a ghost in the night, appearing and disappearing like a living dream. For 3 nights in a row, it returned, always watching, always waiting. Tommy knew taming a wild horse was nearly impossible, but something told him that star, because that's what he had decided to call him, wasn't just any horse. He spent hours sitting near the fence, speaking softly, reading aloud, letting his voice weave a bridge between them. He left apples and bits of hay, though Star was too wary to take them at first. But then, on the 4th evening, the stars hanging like lanterns in the sky, something changed. Star took a step forward, then another. Tommy held his breath, his hand outstretched, his fingers trembling with hope. The horse hesitated, nostrils flaring, then pressed his velvety nose against Tommy's palm. A spark ignited, an unspoken promise, a silent understanding. Tommy let out a breathless laugh, his eyes burning with emotion. "Hey there, boy," he whispered. "I think you and me, we're gonna be something special, just passing through." It was meant for him. Not everyone shared Tommy's conviction. His father, Mark, stood with arms crossed, watching the boy and the horse from the porch. "Son, wild horses don't belong in backyards," he warned. "They belong to the open, to the wind." Tommy's jaw clenched. "He chose me, Dad," Mark exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Just don't let your heart outrun reality." Reality hit harder than Tommy expected. Training Star was no easy feat. The horse bucked and resisted, his wild spirit unyielding. There were moments of frustration, of doubt, but Tommy refused to give up. Every stumble, every setback only deepened his resolve. Then came the storm. A bitter December wind howled through the valley, whipping ice and snow across the ranch. Star had wandered off earlier that day, and as the storm thickened, panic clawed at Tommy's chest. Without thinking, he grabbed his coat and sprinted into the blizzard, calling Star's name into the roaring wind. Snow blinded him. His fingers were numb, but he didn't stop. Finally, through the white haze, he saw him, trapped at the edge of a frozen creek, his legs sinking into the brittle ice. Terror clutched Tommy's throat. If Star moved the wrong way, the ice would shatter beneath him. "Hold on, buddy," Tommy shouted, forcing himself to move carefully. Every step felt like walking a tightrope over disaster. His breath came in ragged gasps as he reached for Star's reins. "You have to trust me." Star's dark eyes met his, full of fear and trust in equal measure. Tommy pulled with everything he had, his muscles screaming in protest. "Come on, please." Then, with a powerful lunge, Star broke free from the ice's deadly grip, crashing into Tommy's arms. They collapsed together into the snow, shivering but safe. Tommy buried his face in Star's mane, his tears lost in the storm. "I got you," he whispered. "I'll always have you." When Tommy stumbled back into the ranch, half frozen with Star at his side, Mark was waiting at the door, his face carved with worry. Without a word, he pulled Tommy into his arms, his grip tight, almost desperate. "You scared me half to death, son." Tommy swallowed hard, his voice barely above a whisper. "I couldn't leave him, Dad." Mark looked at Star, who stood with his head high, as if he, too, understood the gravity of what had just happened. Something in Mark's expression softened. He finally saw what Tommy had seen all along. With a slow nod, he sighed. "All right," he said. "Star stays." Years passed, but some things never changed. Tommy and Star raced across the fields, their laughter blending with the wind. They faced challenges, heartaches, and triumphs, always together. Star had become more than a horse. He was the pulse of Tommy's soul, the silent guardian of his deepest feelings. One summer evening, Tommy stood beside Star, his fingers threading through his mane. The sky was painted in fiery gold, mirroring the first night they had met. He smiled, feeling the warmth of everything Star had given him. Friendship, courage, a love that defied words. "You saved me as much as I saved you," Tommy whispered. Star nudged him gently, his dark eyes shining with an understanding that ran deeper than words. And in that moment, Tommy knew that some bonds were not just formed. They were forged in the fire of trust, in the depths of the heart, unbreakable forever. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, SHARE, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Tell us, what was your favorite part of Tommy and Star's journey? We'd love to hear from you.